Hi, hello, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Whimsy podcast. My name is Zenith. My pronouns are they, them. I am happy you are here with me. Today is Saturday, August 2nd. Already August. That's crazy. This is my podcast where we talk about knitting and also books. We're going to talk about books at the end. If you want more of me, you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Sock Spouse. So follow me there for more content. Let's talk. It is Saturday afternoon. I have had the most delightful day. It's been good. I have been struggling with going back to work ever since I had pneumonia. Because my feet hurt. Apparently, I work a very physical job. Apparently, you just should not go from like laying around being sick to walking 20,000 steps a day with no like build back of strength, no getting back into things. So it's been rough. It's been a hard couple weeks. I've been very tired. However, today I knew that I was like at a breaking point. So I booked a massage for myself. And then I went to a cafe and I knit in a cafe. And then my library did a craft swap. So I showed up. I had donated 3 tote bags worth of stuff to the craft swap. And then I showed up. I did like basically, I was like there before they opened the doors. And it wasn't just me, it was like 20 other people, which kind of restored my faith in humanity a little bit, that there were so many people excited about crafting and crafting supplies on a random Saturday afternoon at the library. I picked up a couple things. I will show them towards the end. But yeah, I'm having a great day. I'm hanging out. I made myself some like spa water with cucumbers and lime, because you should stay hydrated. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about knitting. So settle in, find a snack, find a drink, find a craft to work on, and let's get into it. First of all, I have not one, but two socks to show you. Look at them. They're so cute. The first one I have completed is the ones I planned on finishing last week, which are the Veer Off Course socks by Alindria Knits. We'll show them up close. It's basically just like a chevron, like a basic chevron pattern, but it's offset, so it only really shows on one side. I'm obsessed with these. In my head, I'm calling these my business casual socks. These are gonna go to a friend of mine. And I love them so much. And I used, the main color is from Tiny Human Knits. It did not have a name on it. I think it's kind of like a knockoff version of King of the North is, I think, the colorway. Or like King of the Great Hall. It's based off of like the King of Rohan, but I forget what the name of it was. And then I went with a stroll color as the contrast, and that is in the color Ash. And I'm obsessed with these. I did edit the pattern a little bit. The original pattern doesn't have a leg portion. It's just kind of like cuff, heel, and then the pattern starts. I decided I wanted to put a leg on it, so I did. But I love these socks. It's a 2-row repeat, and it was super easy to memorize. I had a great time with them. I almost cast on another pair in the same pattern. Every time I knit striped socks now, and you will see there are many striped socks in my life, anytime I do one of them, I'm like, should I do the veer off course? And I keep being like, no, you need to chill. But I came very close to casting on veer off course again. The second pair of socks that I finished is this one. These are for me, and this is also Tiny Human Knits. This is the color So It Begins, and this is a full sock set, so the gray is the gray that came with the sock. I love these. These are my standard vanilla pattern. I don't follow like an actual written pattern. I just cast on 2x2 ribbing. 56 stitches is what I need for my gauge on size 1 flexi flips. I do 10 rounds for the cuff. I do 30 rounds for the leg. I do a basic slip stitch heel. and then however many rounds I need for the foot. For my foot, that's 65 rows. And then I do a square toe. It's very simple, it's very basic, and I'm obsessed with this colorway. I am obsessed with this colorway. So I'm very excited to wear these and to take them off the blockers and just have them like in my room and with all the other socks I've made that I'm waiting to wear this fall. It's good stuff. And that is all of my finished objects. I just realized I didn't say anything about the pig parade. I just launched into finished objects. There's no pig parade this week, clearly. I was tired. I was busy. I've been working 10-hour days because it was the end of our fiscal year where I work. And that means, you know, I work 10-hour days. I get home. I have like 3 hours to be conscious before I go to sleep. And I was like, I don't want to spend 30 minutes of that making a pig because I only have 3 hours. So a little bit less pigs this week, but they will be back. My mom specifically has requested a pig. I went on Facebook and I posted all of the socks I made in July. And my mom, who had requested one of the pairs of socks, forgot that she had requested one of the pairs of socks and was like, can I have that pair and can I have a pig to go with it? And I was like, well, first of all, those are for you. I made them for you. Second of all, I guess. So I have to make at least one pig. Hold on. Stay hydrated. So on to works in progress. I have 2. I had to cast on 2 pairs of socks this week, which is unusual for me. We're slightly off schedule. That's okay. In this bag, which is from Tiny Human Knits. This is my socks for people who are not me bag. And in that bag we have a sock. I started this on Wednesday. And I'm obsessed with it, as I am with the majority of my socks. I think it's so good. This yarn is from West Yorkshire Spinners, and it is Rum Paradise, and the contrast color is Knit Pick Stroll in the color Horchata. West Yorkshire Spinners is interesting because they are not a superwash yarn. So it's a little bit more rustic, a little bit more scratchy. In the past, I have not loved working with my West Yorkshire Spinners. I am really loving this. I will say the stripes are thinner than I am used to. They're more of like a 3.5, 4 rows compared to like a 5.5 row for me. So it's throwing me off that my stripes are shorter and it takes more of them to get where they should be. Which is neither here nor there, but it's just a little bit interesting, a little bit different. I'm making these for my friend for her birthday. I'm not going to say names just in case she's watching. I don't think she is, because we're not very like social media active, but just in case, therefore someone who has a birthday coming up in the next couple months. And that's it. Anyway, I also yesterday was Friday. Yes, today is Saturday. Yesterday was Friday. And as I do on Friday night, I cast on a new pair of socks. I did use my sock spinner. I used my sock spinner for for these socks and for these. And the ones I got for this, when I spun it on Thursday so I would know what to look forward to, and it said scrap yarn. So I was going through my scrap yarns anyway because of the craft swap that happened today. So I took my bag of scrap yarns over to my bed and I like upended the bag and I dumped them all out and I said, what do I want to have socks with? And the answer was none of them. And I was like, well, that's interesting because I either already have a pair of socks in that color or I don't want a pair of socks in that color because I have a very specific palette that I wear, and if it's not in that palette, I don't want it. So I decided to give myself a pass only because I got rid of 4 or 5 partial balls of scrap yarn to the craft swap. And I was a good Samaritan, so I wrote down what the colorway was, what the fiber content was, how much of it there was, and then like bagged it with the note so that it wouldn't get separated. And it was some of the first yarns to go with the craft swap today, I'll tell you that. And then because I had done that, I decided that I could have a little treat. so so I found one of my hanks of yarn that's new. I've had it for a year. So it's not new, but it's newish, and it's 50 grams. So I will not be making more scraps by knitting it. And I decided I would wind that up and knit it. So I have this. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It is, the main color is from Craftily Dyed Yarns, and this is in the color Indian Corn. And because I was thinking of corn, I chose this color as a contrast because I was thinking it might look like a corn husk. And this is Knit Pick Stroll in the color Melon. However, I'm not sure I love it. I'm not sure I hate it. I think it might grow on me. But I just have mixed feelings about it. I've had this yarn for a year. I think the yarn itself is gorgeous. I haven't knit this for a year because I haven't figured out what contrast color to put with it. And I've just been kind of floundering this whole time. And yesterday, it's funny, my roommate's boyfriend is in town. And I heard him talking yesterday. Like, he came home and he was like talking upstairs. I assumed he came home with my roommate. So I walked upstairs with a couple different yarns to like ask for color advice. And he was with his grandson and not my roommate. And I had to be like, hey, 9-year-old, which one looks better? And yeah, they chose this one. The other color was Stroll Patina. I think Patina might have looked a little bit better, but I don't know. I think a navy also would have looked good. But it is what it is. We're committed to the bit. We're doing the melon. So that's it. Leave in the comments what color you would have put with the Indian corn. Yeah. I do love the way that it's striping up. I don't think it's naturally a striped yarn. I think it's just like the color happens to be pooling with how many stitches I have. So that's cool. Anyway, those are my works in progress. And that leads us into our acquisitions. So there was a craft swap today. I was not planning to bring anything home. In fact, what I wanted to go in and find flexi flips. I was like, maybe somebody will have tried flexi flips and gone, these are not for me, and donated them to the craft swap. And of course that did not happen. Flexi flips are a little bit expensive, a little bit niche, and no one donated flexi flips to the craft swap. However, someone had donated some of the Addy Turbos, and that was okay with me. So I got and it was in sizes that I knew I would use. So I got a 40-inch size 2 Addy Turbo, and then I got a 24-inch size 1 Addy Turbo. And everything in here completely free. There's no checking out, no nothing. It was just come in, grab stuff, leave. And the people who are running it were like, our goal is to have everything out of this room at 4 o'clock. So like, take whatever you want. But then I also found some yarn, very old yarn. These are nylon wool 50-50 blends, which is kind of interesting. They do feel a little bit rough. But I got 2 colors. This is also Lion brand yarn. So this is, I think, some very old Lion brand, but it looks like it's fine. They don't even have a color listed on here. Oh, yes, they do. So these are PAS green 169, and this one is white 100. These are just gonna go into the heel, like the cuff heel toe pile. But y'all know I love me some like blue green, you know, and then white. You can always use white. So I love these. I might freeze them for a couple days and quarantine them, just because that whole like rumor mill that was going on about the Knit Picks thing is still living rent free with me. Which, like, my yarn was fine. All of my yarn was fine. Everyone I know who's ordered, their yarn is fine. I have integrated the yarn that I got into my stash. I actually did that today. When I tell you I've been having the best day today, it's like not even, it's not even that I did anything extraordinary. It's just that I woke up and I did not feel like I was still engulfed with like some lingering post nasty sickness from having pneumonia, even though I've technically not had it for weeks. Like my body has just been struggling to adapt to like my usual speed of life in such a way that I just have felt exhausted into my very bones. And today I woke up and I was just like, I feel like a human and I can vacuum my floor and not like have to go lay down afterwards, you know? Like I can just do normal things. So one of the things I did was I rearranged my stash of palette and my stash of yarns that is specifically for like cuffs, heels, toes, so that they are more readily accessible and the palette is less accessible because I don't use it very often. I only use it for making like tiny pigs, and I don't necessarily need to have 30 full balls of yarn available when I make one like 4-gram pig a day, maybe. So I picked a couple that I want to work through first, and I put them into a little basket. You can't see it, but it's over there. And it looks very nice and organized, and I feel at peace in my soul that I have decluttered an area and made it look organized and pretty. So satisfying. We're going to do another hydration break now. I should have said this before the hydration break, but that is all of my knitting stuff for the week. So if that is what you were here for, thanks for watching. However, we are also going to talk about books and stuff because I've still been reading all of the things this week. First of all, I have a question. So it is August. Let me know if you would be interested in watching videos that are just like reading wrap-ups or just like a monthly TBR or something like that. I think I have some interest in making videos that are like, here's what I read this month, here's what I'm planning to read next month, and going from there. But also like, this is a knitting channel. I made this to be a knitting channel. And I don't know how interested other people are in me talking about all the books that I've read all the time. So let me know if there is interest in that. In the meantime, let's talk about the things I've read this week. I am still listening to the audiobook of Master of Jinn, and it is letting me down tremendously, which is really unfortunate because P. Djeli Clark is an auto-buy author for me. I love everything he's written. The only book of his I have not read actually is The Haunting of Tramcar 015, which is kind of a prelude to Master of Jinn. And it like hurts my feelings that I don't even, it's not even like a little bit that I dislike Master of Jinn. I'm like, who wrote this? Like who, and I think part of it is just that it hasn't aged well, but part of it is just that it's genuinely, the main character just is awful. Like I hate the main character. I actively disrespect her. So there's that. However, I'm also reading 2 other books. I'm reading an ARC. An ARC is when you get a copy of a book before it's been published. And I used to have access to a ton of these because I worked in bookselling for 5 years. And I have tried with all of my might to unsubscribe from all of the book industry things from my email because I don't work in a bookstore. There is no reason for me to have access to this. And despite my best efforts, I still get marketing emails. And specifically, I get them from Tor. Tor is like, but Zenith, what if you want to read this one? Are you sure you don't want a free copy? And I love Tor. They're my favorite publisher. There's probably a reason they keep trying to sneak me copies, you know, because I love them. And they sent me an e-arc the other day, and I'm pretty sure I'm just on a list somewhere that I haven't been removed from. But it's for a book called Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. And I couldn't resist because it's about a sorority and weird things happening and like what you would do for power. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. So I downloaded it. I've been reading it on my phone mostly. I read it today in the cafe for a couple hours when things finally hit the fan. It was completely normal for like 50% of the book. It reads like, you know, a literary fiction. And then things hit the fan. And now it's really good, and I have 25% of the book left, and I'm going to finish it this weekend because I need to know. I need to know what's going to happen. So I'm enjoying that. I'm also reading Enigma by Runix. That one I am not enjoying as much as I thought I would. I loved Runix's first book that was published under, I think, Nightfire. I know that Rue is published under one of the Tor imprints. Her first book, Gothicana, incredible. I loved it so much I was like having dreams about being in the book when I went to sleep at night when I was reading it. Like, it's that amazing. Her sophomore novel is Enigma, and I'm reading it right now. I don't love it. It's not a hit for me. The main character is something. We're gonna leave it at that. The main character is something. So I think I'm gonna finish it. It depends. Because right now my problem is I'm getting a lot of like secondhand cringe from the main character. Like, not even secondhand embarrassment, but like secondhand cringe about reading the main character and just like how she moves through the world. And I'm like, I don't think this is for me. The last book I'm reading, I actually just started today. I picked this up while I was puttering around Salem at one of the stores there. And then I was like looking at it, I put it back on the shelf, it fell off of the shelf, and the salesperson, who's obviously just being like a very good salesperson, was like, if book jumps out at you, that means you're supposed to get it. And I was like, that's dumb. And then I put it back, and then I was like, you know what? I haven't bought a witchcraft book in a while. So I bought Mastering Witchcraft by Paul Hewson. And it was written in like the 70s, so it's very interesting. I'm not sure how good of a book it's going to be, or if it's going to be just like, full of nonsense, because a lot of witchcraft books are just like absolute. Like, they just be making stuff up. Like, facts do not matter in most witchcraft books. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I do occasionally like to, peruse a witchcraft book and read what I can read. So we'll see how it goes. I've just finished the introduction, and it was already quoting from the Bible a lot more than I expected a witchcraft book to do. So that's interesting. But then it also just openly insulted Christians, and then was like, this is the end of the introduction. I'm like, okay. Like, it basically was like, if you're Christian, don't read this. This isn't for you. And I'm like, fair, but like, maybe don't actively call them names. So yeah, we'll see next week if I'm still reading that. Yeah. Anyway, as far as other things, I said last week that I might do a Lord of the Rings watch through last weekend. That did not happen. Spoiler. I tried. I pulled up Fellowship of the Ring. I watched half of the movie. I watched until they got to Rivendell, and I was like, I can't do this. This is too much. These movies are too long, and I want to do other things. And so I gave up on that. So we did not watch all Lord of the Rings. We did watch, and by we I mean I watched The Sword and the Stone for movie night last night. I do still have my spinner of all of my Disney movies on my phone, so I spun that. I think we're now up to like 36 movies on that list because I added some more. So that's fun. And I think that's it for watching. Mostly I'm watching YouTube channels and hanging out. And I've decided on Tuesdays are my music night, where I either play like a radio station or like ambient tracks or something. And I've been really enjoying that. That is very peaceful and very decompressing. So enjoying that as well. And yeah, I think that's mostly what I got for the week. I'm going to try to start going back to the gym regularly next week. Trying to get back into like being a functional human being and back up to my regular speed of things. We will see how that goes. And yeah, that's all I got for today. So yeah, let's have a whimsical time, and I'll see you then. Bye.